Good evening, parents and staff. It is now 1 minute past 7, so I'm going to start. Thank you for joining me for the meeting. And this tonight is just more general information evening of where we are in school, and also just reiterating one or two things what I discussed with you a couple of weeks ago. Let's close our eyes to start with a prayer. Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together as members of one school family. I pray that the pupils, parents and staff of St. Patrick's CBC experience your love in profound and authentic ways every day. May each staff member recognize the God-given responsibility he or she has, and may they walk in wisdom, integrity, grace and truth. I pray for your blessing and guidance during the time that we will be spending together this evening. Amen. Please note that our day-to-day procedures were discussed at the previous meeting. As I just said, tonight's meeting is more general, and if you missed that meeting, it is available on the school's website. You can just look for the date 8th July, and it will also be clearly marked that that was the ECD information evening. Right at the end, I will allow you to ask questions. So in the meantime, please take down that number if you don't have it by now, and you can ask questions during the course of the evening. Any question that I covered during the presentation, I will of course just not answer at the end. I think it's a reminder that we as a school be reminded again that what is our mission. And I think during this COVID-19 crisis, we actually forgot what is our school's mission, and have also shared this again with our staff last week, just to reiterate who we are and what we are aiming to be. First of all, remember we are a faith-based school of distinctive excellence, growing well-rounded young people who are equipped to be socially responsible role models in an ever-changing world. And I think nobody in February could foresee how the world is going to change. And I do believe that we as a school and you as parents at home are preparing these pupils for an ever-changing world. Also, we are teaching them how to be socially responsible role models, because now it's not just giving back to those who doesn't have the same privileges as us, but also we are socially responsible by wearing our masks, by keeping physical distance, by making sure I'm safe, and therefore also making sure that my neighbor are safe. Also, that we are growing them to be well-rounded. So even that in a crisis, they learn how to deal with a crisis, they deal with how to look and to survive during these times. And I think that's very important, that we continue teaching these kids that to be well-rounded, it also means what it means to be coping during a crisis like we currently are. Because as they grow up, the world have other crises, or we have sometimes crises in our life. And this will teach them how to deal with this. And we as the adults are setting the example, not always by what we're saying, but how we're leading and by what we're doing at home and at school. And then of course we are a faith-based school. And that's why, just like tonight, I start with prayer, but it goes further. It also goes to our values, that we live our Christian values at school and you at home. And therefore, what is our values? Our values remind us that we aim to that every pupil are their best. Excellence is not that everybody achieve 80%, but that every pupil achieve their best. Doesn't matter if their best is 40% or if it's 80%, that every pupil achieve their best at school. Integrity, of course, links to honesty, and especially with this COVID-19 procedures and where you need to divulge information to us. Are you doing it? Is there integrity also, as we as management and staff, do we portray honesty and live it on a daily basis? Faith, already we spoke about it. Belonging, also that we create a sense of belonging and care at school. And especially during this crisis, if somebody might test positive, that they still do have a sense of belonging and care. I do apologize for our dog that's for some reason just gone off. So that they have a sense of belonging and that they have a sense of care, even if they test positive for COVID-19, and that we as a family as a school family, really create that sense of belonging and care for each other. Also, with this racial crisis in South Africa, also with our financial and economic crisis in South Africa, also where our country leaders, world leaders as well, now need prayer than ever before, and that also we can pray that they do create a sense of belonging and care for each other in South Africa, and that we also create a sense of belonging and care for each other. And I think that's our school's aim as well. Doesn't matter how you look like, doesn't matter what your background, that we do create a sense of belonging and care. We are one school, and this is a slide that I share quite a lot with my management team, and I've also shared this with my staff last week when we opened. And I think you can realize when you look at this, how everybody and every section of the school play an important role. And in the middle, you can see that faith, again, is the foundation of the school. And on top of that, our values, mission, and vision statement. And then you can see that every section of the school play a pivotal role. You as parents and pupils as well are playing a very important role. That's why at this stage, we as you as families that belong to the school, that we feel that we're aiming that you feel safe at school, and therefore that our COVID-19 procedures are in place, and that we're doing everything in our utmost to keep you safe. But also as parents and pupils, you must do everything in your ability to ensure that you are honest on your forms when you declare your information every morning. Also, that you are playing that role at home as well, and those values that I've just spoken about, that you live them at home as well. And then also, when it comes to school fees, you can clearly see that you are pivotal in that role. And if you're going to stop paying school fees, this whole machine, all these gears will come to a halt. But from a school point of view, and you can see where ECD and PR is, I'll show it with my mouse there, you can clearly see ECD and PR. They're also playing a pivotal role to ensure that your child gets the right education. They ensure on a daily basis that your kids are being kept safe at school. Also, that they are role models for your kids on a daily basis as well. And then I can go now in detail on every other gear, but I think you get the picture that every section of the school plays an important role to ensure that these gears are continued turning, especially in this difficult time as well. And therefore, it's also very important that as parents and pupils, you support the school during this difficult time, just like we are trying to play that role from the school side as well. And I hope that you feel supported and that you do feel that we are one family and trying to continue support each other during this difficult time. Also, what a great man, and his birthday was on the 18th, of course, and because it was birthday, and also although his birthday was on Saturday, I do believe that we can actually celebrate his birthday every day, every day in the year. But we as a school, we realize that it's very difficult to volunteer currently for 67 minutes, but we can still change lives. And that is why we as a school have teamed up with Bopelo Child and Youth Care Center in Kimberley. And then from today until the end of the month, you can drop off groceries, toiletries, and cleaning material at school. You can drop it off at the security huts. Also, all items needed for a baking or craft activity, nappies size 2 to 5, and then also they are always in need of electricity as well. And there's the electricity meter number. Remember, this was also sent out on your WhatsApp group, so you should have that number there as well. If you don't have it, you can just ask Joe Marie to send it to you. And you then, after you bought or paid for electricity, you can then SMS that voucher number to that cell phone number. That is the cell phone number at Bopelo Child and Youth Care Center. So also, as it says here, items may be dropped off at reception as well. Please support them. It's very difficult times, and we know that all our non-profit organizations are under immense pressure during this time as well. So if you can support them with anything there, please assist them. I think this is a great cause. Then just a reminder that we as a school have 8 stages to reopen our school, and we are currently at stage 6. And just a reminder, what is stage 6? That is where we allow all the other grades back in ECD and PR. You were the latest group to join us. But then also a reminder that no sport or cultural events will take place at this stage. And we'll wait for stage 7 and 8 to get to that point, but that will be coinciding with when President Cyril Ramaphosa lower the stages in South Africa. COVID-19, and there's the virus that's really caused havoc in the world. The question I've asked my staff, and I would like to ask you as parents the same question, and pupils, how did this virus affect you? Did it affect you mentally? Did it affect you financially? Or any other way? I mean, that list is endless. I would like to remind you that we have a support team at school, Dr. Marlene Swigers. We have Councillor Marida Duff. We also, of course, have Charlotte Motter, who is a school nurse. And they are all there to assist if you just need to talk to somebody. Reminder, you as parents can also go and see them. Or if you just want to send them a WhatsApp or talk to them over the phone, you're more than welcome. So please do that. And also, especially if you are currently on medication to get through this process. I'm not talking about medication that was prescribed by a psychiatrist or a psychologist or even a GP. But if you're self-medicating yourself to get through this period, or using any other substance to get you through this, I would like to remind you that there are other ways to deal with this crisis, and that's why we are there. I'm also available to talk. My management team, we are all there to support. So please contact us if you need to make contact and just say, I think this is really affecting me and I don't know who can help me or who I can talk to. Also, we had another case last week where a parent was walking around in Kimberley telling parents that I'm lying about our positive COVID-19 cases. Well, if he says the school, he's pointing fingers to me. And saying that we must have had a COVID-19 case because we've been trading the longest at all schools, and all the other government schools are closing around us, but we haven't closed yet. We are lying about it. I want to make it very clear. That's a very serious accusation. And number one. Number two, you cannot keep something like that hidden in Kimberley. Somewhere, someone is going to know somebody that tested positive, and their kids or themselves or teachers at school. So I want to make it very clear, that's fear-mongering, and that's also slamming the school and myself. And we will take serious steps against anybody that we realize is doing something like this. So I want to and you've seen that letter that I've sent out last week as well. So I want to re-emphasize that if we have a COVID-19 case, we will declare it, because the school or certain sections will have to close down, and we will take guidance there from Department of Health, Department of Basic Education, as well as from ISASA, which is Independent Schools Association of South Africa. If you have a concern, contact me or contact my management team. But do not make yourself guilty of something like this, because there's an actual fact legal action that we can take against parents that is spreading such rumors. That is nothing more than fear-mongering and actual fact slamming and damning this towards the school. We were fortunate enough at this point not to have a COVID-19 case. And as I said in that letter last week, instead of using the time to fear-monger and to create negativity, let's rather turn around and be positive and be grateful that we haven't had a case yet. I also believe that besides God's hand of protection over the school, we've also put enough measures in place that's trying to keep us safe. But if it happens, and then we'll go through it. But let's rather pray for the school. And parents, I really need to appeal to pray for me, who's in charge of the school, and trying to keep you, my staff, and my kids safe. It is a daunting process, and it's quite demoralizing when somebody is spreading something like that. So may I ask that we rather support each other and pray for each other and again, create a sense of caring and belonging for each other. That is, of course, Dr. Marlene Swiggers, and she and her team is available at any time to help you and to assist you. There's an email address as well, so please make contact with her. Again, if you are missing this, you can ask Joan-Marie and she'll forward it to you as well. Then just as a reminder, we continue, this is especially now applicable to PR, where we do not allow them currently to wear school uniform. That's by wearing civvies. We know if you are wearing new clothes, clean clothes on a daily basis. Also, you've heard President Cyril Ramaphosa on last week, Sunday night, where he made very clear that face masks are compulsory. Reminder that we said that when you and your little one arrive at school in the morning, you must wear the cloth face mask. And then in class, they're either allowed to wear the visor or that sun hat with a visor, as I've spoken about last time. If you have no clue what I'm currently talking about, please make contact with your teacher. They will assist you, and it's also in detailed in the previous conversation as well, previous presentation. We also are teaching and working very hard to maintain physical distancing. Please help us to explain this to your little ones at home as well, and practice physical distancing at home as well. Please note that we do not talk about social distancing. Social distance means I don't want anything to do with you. I'm keeping socially away from you. That's not what this is. This is physical distance. I want to be socially interacting with you, but I'm just not allowed to get into your 1.5 meter space. So we're keeping physical distance. But social distance means I don't want anything. I'm keeping totally away from you. That's not what this is about. And that's why psychologists started saying, may you please start moving away from the term social distancing and talk about physical distancing, and explain to your little one, what's the difference between social distance and physical social? I don't want anything to do with you. This is not what it is about. This is just, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to come close to you, but I still want everything to do with you, but I'm just not allowed to shake your hand or give you a hug like we normally did. And that's the difference between social distance and physical distancing. Hygiene, again, at school, we're encouraging the little ones to wash their hands with soap and also with water, of course, and also to use hand sanitizers. You saw at campus, on campus, how many hand sanitizers there are, especially in the ECD and PR building as well. So again, please teach your little ones, and they do say if you sing happy birthday twice, that is enough. Then you actually have washed your hands long enough. I can just hear you all singing happy birthday to yourself tonight twice. Unfortunately, COVID-19 is getting closer and closer to us. So we are preparing, and we are prepared for not if it happens, but when it happens. And when it happens, we are prepared, and we will immediately, as I said earlier, communicate to you in which section that we have a positive COVID-19 case. Was it a pupil? Was it a staff member? The name will not be divulged. That is confidential, but we will then also tell you if the whole school or just that section needs to be closed down for sanitized and cleaned, de-cleaned. And again, I say that we take guidance here from the Department of Health, Department of Basic Education, and ISASA. Also, you've now seen that the Minister of Health last week reduced the quarantine period from 14 days to 10 days. So we've immediately changed our policy. That is now 10-day quarantine. And then also, this is if you test positive or you're in contact with somebody that are infected or positive COVID-19 case. Also, we do ask you that because we do know now it's not so easy to test anymore, but if anybody in your office tested positive, that you are immediately declaring it to us, and that you isolate and or quarantine, and that you please keep your kids at home to quarantine as well. Also, if you travel to hotspot areas, please communicate it to us so that we can agree to an isolation time and that we know what's going on. So please be honest with us. It leads back to our value called integrity. So this is a slide that I did share with you last time, but we do believe or do see that parents are getting this wrong. An extra set of clothes, including a spare mask, must be packed in a Ziploc bag. Kids from grade 1 up they cope with one mask, but these little ones, they sometimes mess on it or becomes wet, whatever. So please, and that's why we asked you last time to please make sure that you have 4 masks. So in a Ziploc bag, please make sure that you have an extra set of clothes that stays at school plus a spare mask until they need it. And then, of course, the dirty pack will be sent home and you must just send a new clean pack the next day. And as I just said, this clothing will remain at school as you want to limit the number of items brought from home on a daily basis. Smaller children may require 2 sets, so rather be prepared. Give us 2 sets of clothes that we can keep in the classroom if they need it. Also, please make sure the daily morning snack is also in a separate Ziploc bag, and please ensure that all items are clearly marked. Just from a marketing point of view, we as a school are really going to broaden our digital footprint. So we are really going to launch a digital marketing footprint in South Africa as well as in Africa and our neighboring countries. And especially you will now see that there will be more adverts going on Facebook, not just on Facebook, school's Facebook page, but also a broader campaign, also on Instagram. We're also going to our search engine optimization on Google. We're going to broaden that as well. We have our website, and then also we will use limited printed media and Kimberley just to remind the rest of the community that we are still here. But I need to remind you that you are the best marketer. When you, for example, are having an irritation with me, that's not with the school. But now if you go and sit in a hair salon and you talk negatively about me or about the school rather because you just have an issue with me, it affects us. Also, tomorrow you feel better because me and you have now made up, but you slandered the school, and that is damage that I cannot undo. Or you might have a disagreement with the teacher or with Lizanne, who's the head of the ECD, or the PR teachers, and now you're irritated. Tomorrow morning, that situation has been resolved, but you've caused quite a lot of damage verbally in the community, especially in a very fragile time in Kimberley, where we also are independent school and we are fully dependent on the pupils in school and as used on parents to pay school fees. If you slander the school, it will affect CBC's future. So may I ask that if you have an irritation, you rather speak to the teacher and we will resolve it for you. Also remember, it doesn't help that you talk about it in the community, but you don't bring it to our attention. And these are kind of things that I've also spoken to my staff about, and I will continue talking about this the rest of the week to all parents. Because even myself, sometimes I might have a frustration with you, or sometimes I have a frustration with a staff member. I would love to go to Facebook, but I don't. Because tomorrow I feel better, but I slandered the school. So what applies to me applies to all of us. We're one family. We're trying to really be one family, regardless of all the nonsense taking place in South Africa and in the world. And we need to continue building to be one family. And family members sometimes do have frustration with each other, but that is where we talk about it and we resolve it and we move on. So please, I think you've seen the amount of effort that we as a school are going through to keep your little ones safe, to assist you, and to come onto campus safely and leave the campus safely, as well as to still be the lead in education as well during a very difficult time. May I ask that we support each other and that we rather back each other during a difficult time. But when there are constructive criticism or something we need to discuss, please raise it with us and we'll discuss it. Just a reminder here that you first raise it with the teacher, then with Lizanne, who's the head of ECD, or with Flora, who's the grade head for PR and R. She is currently off of a hip operation. So you can, if you have no joy from the teacher, you can speak to Peter Homan, who's the head of PR up to grade 7. You can then speak to him directly. And if there's no joy there, then of course it will jump to me. But out of experience, I know it gets resolved normally on teacher level already. And sometimes it's just because we don't talk to each other and we all get into our own making up our own conclusions, which is normally the wrong conclusion. Also a reminder that social media is like sharks out there, and they're waiting for somebody to post something negative about CBC. I must remind all of you that not everybody in the Kimberley community is very positive towards CBC, especially because we are an independent school and we have all our grades back and we haven't had a COVID-19 case, etc. Again, let's rather make our social media a positive footprint, and let's rather encourage each other on social media if you want to post something instead of something negative. The negativity, unfortunately, gets more attention than positivity, but let us be the difference. And I shared this with my staff as well, and the same rules apply to me as well. Let us all be positive and support each other. Then just a reminder that from a projects point of view, we've postponed all projects to 2021 due to this crisis in the world. But our outdoor swimming pool that we started before COVID-19 will be done by October 2020. And then also Keeley Park, we had to continue. And there's just a couple of photos that you can see. This is up-to-date photos. So the Astro is in. You can see the paving. There's a lot of civil work still continuing. There's another photo of the Astro. Those are the 4 netball courts that's being built, also with lights as well. So this process is continuing. And then also the gully, the current clubhouse, they will be renovated as well. Just a reminder that due to the required daily screening process, no pupils are allowed to arrive at school after 8 o'clock in the mornings. Please, parents, I really need to appeal to you. Please make sure that you're on campus and that your little one are in the classroom by 8 o'clock. If your child is continuing with home learning, please remember to fetch their busy bag. It's an activity bag from the security office at the main gate in Henderson Street if you haven't done so yet. I'm quite disappointed to see how many parents have not fetched this bag. Please come and fetch it. That's what you're paying for. That's what the kids in class are getting. We're giving you the same treatment that's being schooled at home, so please make sure that you fetch those bags. And there's a reminder that St. Patrick's CBC is now a cash-free zone. G4S is not collecting money on campus anymore. Another way to keep our campus safe. So just a reminder that no money can be paid at school anymore. It's only now by card, and that is for everybody's safety. The Tuck Friday, we are still looking what we're going to do about Tuck Friday. I did promise you 2 weeks ago that I will get feedback to you. The financial manager and the Zan is still in conversation, and then they'll come to me. So they informed me this afternoon. They have not made a final decision yet. First day photos that will be available at the end of July 2020. It was now hold up due to COVID-19, and we will notify you in WhatsApp groups that when it's available. Then just a reminder that the CBC blanket can be ordered at the finance office, and most order blankets have already arrived. The rest should arrive later this week. CBC blankets will remain at school, and personal blankets will be sent home. Because remember, we wash it. So we wash your blankets on a daily basis. We wash the mattress covers on a daily basis. So please ensure that the CBC blankets are here. We are cleaning it and washing it. If you're still waiting for your CBC blanket, then your personal blanket will still be used. Same rule, we will wash it on a daily basis. Then also you've now seen that the trade unions in South Africa is giving the Minister of Basic Education a hard time to close schools. As you've also seen, no decision has been made up to this point. And we are currently told that things will stay as is for now. We are keeping our eye on it. Also, I don't know if government schools are forced to close, what will be the effect on us as independent schools. I need to remind you that the average teacher in an independent school is not unionized. That's just how it works. And so these unions are in actual fact talking on behalf of government staff. But like the president did on the 15th of March, he did close private schools and public schools on the 15th of March. So he's got the right to do it. But also we as independent schools are different in the sense of you can see the amount of preparation we put in to ensure that your kids are safe, that the staff are safe. And then also we have smaller smaller classes or smaller kids or pupil numbers in classes. We're currently averaging 5, 6 in the class. I know one PR class are now 12 pupils in the class, but overall we're averaging 5 or 6 kids in a class. And we could also see after the president's speech last week Sunday night, sorry, a lot of parents said to us, we're rather going to keep our little ones at home and continue online homeschooling until the curve has gone down, or we don't feel we feel it's safer to send our kids to school. Remember, the majority of kids currently at school, mom and dad both are working. They don't have the privilege to have somebody at home to look after their little ones. And that's why we make sure that the product in class and the product that's at home is exactly the same. That's why those goodie bags are also available. Thank you for entrusting us with your little one, for paying your school fees on time, and for your continued support. This ship needs to continue sailing. We still need to continue servicing our overheads, as well as building a school for the future. So therefore, we need your continuous support, and we do need your school fees on time. I'm now going to hand over to questions. Assessments for PR will probably be done by end of August. How it will work and how exactly it will be, we will communicate with you as parents. The question is, how will pupils at home, how will we ensure that they have the same standard of education as at school, those pupils coming to school? A reminder that that's why you have the lesson plan. You've got everything that the kids are being, that the kids will do in class, those goodie bags as well. And again, remember, they're now going to new themes, and new goodie bags will be available. That's how we ensure that, so even if we use paint in the class, that we send paint home, because you're paying for that. So that's how we ensure that even that the kids in class and the kids at home are using the same quality paint. You use the same, you've seen the shapes and sizes on Facebook, those laminated pages that went home with the shapes as well. All of that were made available to you as parents that's homeschooling your pupils currently. So the only difference is that the teacher is there to assist in class, where you now as parent are assisting them at home. But I want to remind you that the teachers are available. If you don't know specifically how to bring a skill across, the teachers are available to assist you. So if you want to know, how do I teach these shapes to my kids, you are more than welcome. It should be an indication in your daily plan. But if you want more information, please make contact with them and they will assist you. No more questions in the chat group. Just a reminder that you, okay. Give it a couple of seconds just to see if more questions are coming through. There's a question about busy bags. Under correction here, but the busy bag should be issued every 2 weeks, as far as I understand, when they move over to a new theme. Lizanne is listening to this. Lizanne, if you can just quickly send Jeremy a message, but as far as I understand, it's every 2 weeks, a new bag will be packed to fit the theme. If you can just quickly, Lizanne, just give thumbs up if I'm on the right track here or not, or if I'm blatantly lying. Okay, thumbs up, I'm correct. See, I sometimes listen in meetings. So every 2 weeks, new goodie bags will go out. Anything else? Okay, I'll give it 10 seconds just to see if there's lastly questions coming through. There's one more coming through.
Someone asked you to send the assessments back to school. I'm not sure.
What assessments is that?
The little activities and stuff should they send back to school?
The question is, the kids are doing the activities at home. Do they have to send it back to school? It's nothing. There's nothing more rewarding for the teachers to see what your kids are doing, even if you just record it for them and show them. So you don't necessarily have to send it back. I would just suggest that you all keep it in a file for the pupils, or send photos of the work done to the teachers. But it's more a case of they just want to see your child's progress. They want to see how it's going at home. So you've got three options. Number one, you can send it back to school, but that's really not necessary. You can either just take a photo or video of your child's progress and send that to the specific class teacher. But please keep all their work in a file, so that when your little one is joining the school, even if it's next year, coming back, if you're going to homeschool them for the rest of the year, then make sure that it's in a file and you give that to the teachers when you are back. If you feel that you're scared you're going to lose all of this work, then of course you're more than welcome to put it in the file and send it to the teachers as you go on. But that is really not necessary, as long as you show them progress. Because remember, these kids are not getting marks, but it's more about progress, and see how they're doing and see how they're coping. And also the staff miss their kids. You want to see overall how they're doing, and love to see their faces as well. Okay, no more questions? Sorry, somebody is typing. Assessments will be dealt with later this term. So the question is, will you receive assessment guidelines? Yes, you will. As soon as I said earlier, as soon as we get to assessments later this term, you'll get full communication will go home, and also that assessment guidelines will be given. It's another person typing. Either a long message coming through, or somebody is like me, typing with one finger. Takes a while to get that message done. Brian, the IT manager, is laughing at me because he types fast. Okay, we're going to give that question 5 more seconds. If it doesn't come through, then I'll just answer them on the WhatsApp group.
Is the school not considering daily Zoom online lessons for ECD? That's a while.
The question is, are we considering online live Zoom lessons? We've realized with the bigger grades as well in the school that Wi-Fi and data stability in Kimberley is quite a problem. And that's why from day one, we decided we're not going to go for full online lessons. Also, quite a lot of parents take the device home, to work rather, and the device is only available at night again. So for now, that is not on the cards, just because we saw the pressure from other parents struggling with data. And also when you go live, it's also it eats your data as well. And we realize a lot of parents ask us to please keep our data use as low as possible, because it is an expensive story. I see that data companies in South Africa is now starting to compete, and they are reducing the amount we pay for data, but it's still very expensive, and a lot of parents just don't have that means to buy a lot of data to pay for online lessons. That's why we rather do what we are currently doing. And I must say the majority of parents have given us thumbs up. You remember we did that survey for the higher grades, and we got quite a lot of feedback, good feedback. We will do a survey with you as ECD parents you only came back now on the 13th, which was last week, Monday. So we will want to run this another 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll do a survey with you as well, just to hear how you're still experiencing online lessons, as well as how you're experiencing to be back at school. and then we just see that we are on track. All right, so ECD is getting their goodie bags every 2 weeks, or their busy bags rather. PR, it will be depending on when they change from one theme to the next. So ECD is every 2 weeks, PR as they... Depends on the activity, etc. But the teachers will communicate that. More questions? Okay, I think we've answered everything. Right. There's my contact details. So please contact me if you have any questions regarding COVID-19 or any operational matters. Remember, academics or ECD specific inquiries, please go to the teacher first, then Lizanne, then Peter, Homan, and then myself. For PR, it is the teacher. Flora Gill is currently off at home recovering from an urgent hip operation. So currently you will go PR teacher, then Mr. Homan, and then myself. But as I say, it rarely comes to me. But from any operational matter or COVID-19 matter, like school fees is an operational matter. COVID-19 procedures is an operational matter. Safety on campus. Anything that's got to do with the bigger umbrella, you can contact me. Eventually, the academics is also my responsibility and eventually will come to me. But the teacher and the head of that specific section can answer you faster and much more in detail. If you ask me the question first, in any case, I have to go back to the staff members to get the answer before I come to you, and that delays the process. But eventually, everything at school is my responsibility. It's just easier if you contact them first. Thank you for joining me. Also, lastly, what happens if I get sick or I can't do my functions? Then the head of the high school, Francis Chroma, will then stand in. Even if I need to work online from home, Mr. Chroma will be the face and the person at school. If myself and Mr. Chroma is out of action, then it will be Peter Homan, who is the head of the primary school. If Peter Homan is also out of action, then the two deputies. First of all, Mr. Virtue is the deputy head of the primary at the high school. And if he's out of action, then it will be Mrs. Ward, who's the deputy at the primary school. So that is just the line of command. So this is just to emphasize the fact that we have all systems in place. So even if I cannot fulfill my role as the executive head, then Francis Chroma will stand in as the acting executive head, etc., as I now explained. So you are in very good, capable hands if I cannot fulfill my role. Just a reminder that we are in this together and we'll get through this together. Let's continue to support each other, continue praying for each other, continue encouraging each other, and let's continue creating a sense of care and belonging for each other at St. Patrick's CBC. And let us be the beacon of hope in Kimberley. Let us be the beacon of hope in the country where, as I said earlier, racism is rife, where we are pointing out our differences to each other, that we are creating division in a country where, in actual fact, we are so many beautiful people that we just continue working together, and that we are sharing this with our kids and set the example as they are the next generation, that it doesn't matter how I look like, it doesn't matter my background, that we can all live in harmony, that we all now, especially now in a world crisis, we show them how we love each other, how we support each other, how we encourage each other, and by that, create a sense of care and belonging for each other. I wish you all a wonderful night. Thank you for being part of the CBC family. I hope that you are proud of being part of the CBC family. I'm extremely proud to be part of this family. And as I said earlier, if there's any feedback on this presentation or anything that I said tonight you would like more clarity on or unhappy with, then contact me and then I will assist and we can talk. But otherwise, I'm very, very happy that the ECD is now open and that we now can continue operating normally, whatever normal is, in a very difficult situation. And thank you for your continued support. And thank you that we as a CBC family can continue growing together and share that love with each other and be that beacon of hope. I wish you all a good night. Thank you.